Welcome to an overview of IB Language and Literature SL here at Fridley High School. Thank you for taking the time to watch this screencast. As you know, IB Language and Literature is part of the diploma program. It's up there in the top under Studies in Language and Literature. If you have more questions about the diploma program in general, you'll want to go and speak to Ms. Baker or Ms. Nielsen in our IB office. If you need help finding them, your instructor will point the way. If you have further questions about language and literature after this Prezi, then please talk to your instructor or, again, Ms. Baker or Ms. Nielsen. As you know, a key concept in this course is that everything is a text, therefore all the world is a text. And the reason we start out with that is because our primary goal for you is to become both artful and critical consumers of texts as well as stories, because we believe in the English department that prepping for post-secondary, the ability to be critical and artful consumers, is actually prep for life as well, not just college and work, but being a engaged citizen. And so as you finish this 2-year course, our goal is that you're able to analyze all types of text, both fiction and nonfiction, that you have the ability to write effectively in a variety of forms, and that you have the ability to articulate your ideas effectively in an oral format. This course is broken up into 4 parts that you will have over your 2-year study of language and literature. And let's jump into part 1. That is what happens this fall. It's what you're getting ready to engage in as we speak. It's called Language in the Cultural Context. There, again, are 3 main takeaways for you, and that is that you will study both fiction and nonfiction texts, traditional and non-traditional texts. You'll focus on close reading of text as well as looking at rhetorical concepts and terms. You will apply those concepts to 3 themes, specifically evolution of language, language and gender, and language and race. We will be, for all of those themes, looking at unit tests, formal essays and presentations, as well as something known as a further oral activity, or a FOA, as well as a written task, which we will hear about a little bit later on in this screencast. Part 2 happens spring of your 11th grade year, and that's called Language and Mass Communication. It's where we sort of move away from looking at themes in the world like gender and race and whatnot, and actually look at the media. And so you will be studying media terms and text. You will also focus on close reading the media as a text, and we'll be looking at very current and relevant topics. And with an election year coming up, I'm sure that will help, or that will be part of our course. Specifically, though, our themes are language and information, looking at how the media helps to inform us as a society. Language and persuasion, which advertising is a huge component of. And finally, language and entertainment, which I think is something we all consume on a daily basis, both willingly and unwillingly. The tests and assignments are very similar to part 1. And again, we'll get into more details on what a FOA or FOA is, as well as a written task here in a minute. In the fall of your senior year, actually, you will be reading The Great Gatsby in the spring of your 11th grade year, but in the fall of your senior year, we'll be digging heavily into part 4. Why does part 4 come after part 2? Well, we're English teachers, not math teachers, so don't hold us accountable. But part 4 is known as literature and close reading, specifically looking at the study of literary forms. We're going to look at novel, drama, and poetry. And again, focusing on those close reading techniques by looking at literary concepts and terms. This could change, but as of right now, the plan is to read The Great Gatsby this spring, and then as we move into fall of your senior year, focus on the poetry of Nikki Giovanni as well as Shakespeare's Othello. The tests and assignments are much more literary, what I would say is your traditional English class. So there'll be some reading quizzes, there'll be commentaries on literary analysis essays on the specific works. You'll be practicing something known as an oral commentary, where you talk about the work instead of writing about it. And then finally, a formal comparison literary analysis essay. But you will be learning more about that as we move into the fall of your senior year. And finally, in spring of your senior year, we'll be in part 3, which is known as literature, the study of text and context. And specifically, we'll be looking at 3 literary texts, and we'll be not only close reading them, but also looking at the context or the lens in which this work was created, and we'll be, again, digging into literary concepts and terms. Again, this is subject to change, but the plan right now is to read a wonderful play called Master Harold and the Boys, a graphic novel called Persepolis, and Things Fall Apart, a novel. As promised, we are coming back to the FOA and written task, which are formal IB assessments. These assessments guide the design of this course. All of your instructors are thinking with those in mind. And as SL students, you have the opportunity to receive a certificate from IB, which does have the potential to earn you college credit. In order to receive that certificate, you must take the DP exams in May of your senior year for this class, Language and Literature. And the registration for that happens in November of your senior year. So you're still a little bit ways away from thinking about that, but it's never too early. And if you have any questions, please, again, talk to your instructor or go see Ms. Baker or Ms. Nielsen in the IB office, and they would love to give you more information. For your IB score, which is how you would earn your certificate, it is broken up into several different components. The first we'll look at are the oral components. The IB wants you to be both fluent in your writing and your speaking abilities, and to that effect you have 2 assessments, one known as the further oral activity and one known as the individual oral activity. Quickly with the FOA, you will do more discussion on this with your teacher in class, so I'll just leave it up there for you to read for a second. And with all of this, as will be stated several times, if you have further questions, please talk to your teacher before or after school, or after class rather, or go see Ms. Baker or Ms. Nielsen in the IB office. The IOC is an interesting one because this will only be done by students who are testing in SL, and so if you have any specific, not specific questions, but have any questions about what this means, you'll want further clarification, but know that for those testing in SL, we'll be doing this in November of your senior year, which means you need to declare your interest in testing by October 1st of your senior year. So again, a little bit of ways away, but never too early to start thinking about that. Another component is what is known as a written task, and you will again be going over this in much more detail with your teacher, but specifically it is a opportunity for you to be both creative and imaginative, which is something that we should do more of in English classes, and so here is your opportunity to do that. And finally, for those of you testing in order to receive a certificate from IB, in May you will have 2 exams, May of your senior year that is, that you will take, and here is the explanation of both. Again, if you want much more detail, then that is something that we should do before or after class. For paper 2, here is the overview, and again, things that we will definitely be looking at in class, but this is only for those who are interested in testing in May of your senior year. So that leads to a very interesting question. How do we grade? What is the difference between for the high school grade and an IB grade? Well, in class, obviously, we'll have tests, quizzes, essays, activities, whether it's PowerPoint presentations, things like that. Obviously, they're based on points, your grade, your overall grade, and it breaks down to an A through F, just like any other class, and becomes part of your GPA. If you've been a consistent A or B student in English, we don't see why that would change now in 11th and going on in 12th grade. So your FHS grade is the exact same. The IB score is a little bit different, and that is based on the assessments that we just looked at. It is converted to a grade between 1 and 7. 7s are the highest grade and very exceptional. And just to give you a sort of a point of reference, a student who earns a 4 or higher is generally an A student in English. And so even though the scoring system is 1 through 7, 4 is sort of the marker for someone doing really good work to excellent work. So as I finish up this screencast and turn it over to your teacher, we're back to the course premises, which you looked at on the syllabus, and they are really our way of framing what is the entire purpose of this class, this 2-year course. And so as you continue on in this screencast, or pardon me, in this Prezi with your teacher, you'll have an opportunity to dig into these 7 different ways of thinking about language, of thinking about stories, of thinking about text, and more importantly, thinking about the world that surrounds you. Thank you for your attention.